He also saw Sam Carr as a powerful demon and was referring to him when he later called himself Son of Sam.
I'm afraid of everything. I was never so much afraid in my life as I am now.
During the 1 year he spent terrorizing New York City, Berkowitz sent bizarre and threatening letters to his neighbors. They began to suspect him to be the Son of Sam and
Mr. Wade here and Mrs. Crime. If you haven't already done it, subscribe to us and click that like button. Now, on our next unfortunate story is about Mr. David Berkowitz. Now, this guy in the late 70s was notorious for stalking and killing women and also shooting up vehicles back in New York. Now, he shot with a .45 caliber gun, and this went on for about a year or maybe a little more. But we're going to touch on that subject matter of Mr. David Berkowitz. So sit back and relax and enjoy our tombstone whispers of another unfortunate story. Stay tuned.
David Berkowitz was born Richard David Falco on June 1st, 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. His unmarried parents separated shortly before he was born, and he was put up for adoption. His adoptive parents switched his first and middle names and gave him their surname. From a young age, Berkowitz began to show early signs of his future violent behavior patterns. While he wasn't above average intelligence, he lost interest in school and instead focused on more rebellious habits. Berkowitz got involved in petty larceny and power mania. However, his misbehavior never led to legal troubles or impacted his school records. When he was 14, Berkowitz's adoptive mother died of breast cancer, and his relationship with his adoptive father and new stepmother grew strained.
The .44 caliber revolver, giving him his other nickname, the .44 caliber killer.
The man is, he's ill. It's something that you can't be out on the street. I mean, he could happen to anybody, and you never know.
When he was 18 in 1971, Berkowitz entered the U.S. Army and served both in the U.S. as well as South Korea. He was only to be discharged 3 years later. Berkowitz then tracked down his birth mother, Betty Falco. His mother told him about his illegitimate birth and the recent death of his birth father, which greatly upset Berkowitz. He eventually lost contact with his birth mother and began working a number of blue-collar jobs. In the early morning hours of July 29, 1976, 18-year-old Donna Laura and 19-year-old Jody Valentine were sitting in Valentine's car when Berkowitz walked up to the car and shot them. He fired 3 shots and walked away. Laura was killed instantly, and Valentine survived. When Valentine was questioned by the police, she stated that she did not recognize him and gave a description which fit with a statement by Laura's father, who said that he saw the same man sitting in the yellow car. Testimony by other individuals in the neighborhood stated that the yellow car had been seen driving around the neighborhood. Police determined that the gun used was a .44 caliber bulldog. On October 23, 1976, Berkowitz struck again, this time in Flushing, a community in the borough of Queens. Carl DeNaro Rosemary Keenan were sitting in their car, parked, when the windows shattered. Keenan immediately started the car and drove off. It was not until they got help that they realized they had been shot at, even though De Niro had a bullet wound in his head.
So as we see, this man, Berkowitz, he's very agile on sneaking up on vehicles and trying to shoot through the windows. Now they say he likes a lot of women that he could not get while he was in high school in his younger years. So he seek after these type of females. But it seems to me like he comes up on cars that he wants to get. He shoots through them. He tries to kill people sitting in cars. Mr. Wade is thinking maybe it got something to do with the fact that since he couldn't go on a lot of dates as a younger son or child, that he pictured himself, this is what he would be doing if he was with a girl. He would be out in a vehicle sitting there and kissing and doing whatever. So, wow. More to come. Stay tuned.
During the manhunt, with the information from the first letter and letters thereafter, connections between the previous shootings, investigators began to create a psychological profile for the suspect. The suspect was described as neurotic, potentially suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, and believed that he was possessed by demons.
The 24-year-old, who was later diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic, claimed to hear voices of demons that told him to commit murder, including from a black Labrador retriever owned by his neighbor named Sam Carr.
You telling me that this guy that's going around killing people because of some deranged thing that happened with shots to the head or something happened traumatic in his childhood, right? Now you're telling me that he lived in this apartment complex and he has a black dog, and the black dog is owned by a guy named Sam, and he's saying he's hearing demonic things in his mind or just making him do things. So the dog is actually telling him when to commit these crimes? Wow. Stay tuned.
On July 31st, 1977, just 2 days after the anniversary of his first shooting, Berkowitz shot again, this time in Brooklyn. One of the witnesses described that the man looked like he was wearing a wig, which could account for varying descriptions of suspects with blonde and dark hair. Several witnesses saw a man matching Berkowitz's description, wearing a wig, driving a yellow car without any headlights, and speeding away from the crime scene. Police decided to investigate the owners of any yellow car matching the description. David Berkowitz's car was one of those cars, but investigators initially pegged him as a witness rather than a suspect.
It was the 1970s, and a serial killer walked the streets of New York City for more than a year, terrorizing everyone, especially women, until this man was captured, putting an end to it all, but leaving many with the question, why?
When the police searched Berkowitz's apartment, they found satanic graffiti drawn on the walls and diaries detailing his alleged 1,400 arsons in New York area. When Berkowitz was taken in for questioning, he quickly confessed to the shootings and stated that he would plead guilty. When they asked Mr. Berkowitz his motivation for the killing spree, he said that he had his former neighbor, Sam Carr, had a dog, and that was possessed by a demon, which told Berkowitz to kill. Sam Carr is the same Sam that inspired his nickname, the Son of Sam.
And as far as I'm concerned, that was not me. I hate that name. I despise that name.
Which name?
That moniker, Son of Sam. That was not. That was a demon. That was a demonic entity that I was serving. That was just a break from reality. I thought I was doing something to appease the devil. I'm sorry for it, but I really don't want to talk about it anymore.
Appease the devil.
Berkowitz was sentenced to 25 years in prison for each murder served in New York's Supermax prison, Attica Correctional Facility. In February 1979, Berkowitz held a press conference and stated that his claims about demonic possession was a hoax. Berkowitz stated to a court-appointed psychiatrist that he was lashing out in anger against a world that he felt had rejected him. He felt that he had been particularly rejected by women, which could be one of the reasons that he specifically targeted attractive young women. In 1990, Berkowitz was moved to Sullivan Correctional Facility, where he remains today.
I celebrate like you do because Mr. Berkowitz deserves all the time that he has gotten from the courts. This man has run amok. This man has did every damn thing, demented and outraged, just crazy to all the undeservable people that lost their life due to this man. I hope you guys enjoy this unfortunate story that Mr. Berkowitz did to all his people that he murdered or shot at or approached to try to kill. This man here believed that a dog from his neighbor was telling him everything to do, but later recanted everything while in custody, saying that he will deny everything, that he was going through all kind of stuff. Now, he would say he did it at the beginning, but then later say he didn't do it. So he was trying to play a mental game to get out of all that custody. Now, if you look at from where he was located at in the prison system to where he is now to present day, it looks like they put him down to a lower facility. You know, he might be playing that mental game that he's now in a lower custody level than where he was before at Rikers Island. So I hope you guys enjoyed this unfortunate story we bring to you, Tombstone Whispers. I'm Mr. Wade, and Mrs. Crime is always here to make sure that you guys enjoy our channel. More to come. Click that like button, subscribe. More from Tombstone Whispers. Until then. Bye.